Each of us has our own unique background and story of how we became a part of Chiefs Kingdom.
Our reach is far and wide, with fans all over the world cheering on our Kansas City Chiefs.
Everyone donning the red and gold has figuratively signed that mutual agreement and come together for one common purpose.
For 76,000 of us at a time, to descend upon Arrowhead, man our stations, let out our loudest battle cry to the tune of 142.2 decibels, and make that stadium rock until our opponents beg for mercy.
We are unrelenting in our pride for this city, these players, and this team. This is the show for the Allies, Arrowhead Allies.
Wow, as they say, better late than never. Welcome to Arrowhead Allies, the Wednesday edition. Guys, this would be like back in the 90s when WWF Monday Night Raw would be preempted by the Westminster Dog Show. But don't worry, we're here for you. And it's great to see everyone's shining face. I am in a good mood, as I assume everyone in this room is. It could have went either way. You could have been looking at me and just with a blank stare on my face, wanting to be anywhere but here. But guys, we're here for it. Chiefs are 4-1. Shane, Brian, welcome. How's everybody doing?
Great.
Oh man. Oh man. Hey, beating the Raiders is just as good as a Chiefs win. So what I'm trying to say is a Raiders loss is just as good as a Chiefs win. And we got double the fun on Monday, okay? And people are still booing. Boo!
You said you had a guy next to you that was able to boo in 60-second increments for like minutes straight.
For 45 minutes straight. I kid you not. This after the Chris Jones call, this guy was boo! 60 seconds straight for 45 minutes. It was incredible.
And deservedly so as well, by the way. That was wow. I don't know where to start. There's so much here, guys. The call, the Chris Jones call, but it's a 30-29 win at the end of the day, a game that we all talked about. Brian, you mentioned it, how this game, and Shane, you mentioned it on your Shaggy Shane show this week. You throw the records out that these teams come together, and to me, this was the Raiders. This was their final gas. This was their last chance to get back in this division race, kind of whatever that means for them, and they gave it their all. They were there to play. I said, we can't have a repeat of 2 years ago with Henry Ruggs going over the top of our defensive backfield. And it did happen that way with Devontae Adams, 2 big touchdowns. The Raiders struck when they needed to. They kept the Chiefs at bay 17-0, but the comeback happened. Some questionable decisions on some 2-point conversions. A lot happened strategically in this game. Overall, it was just a roller coaster of emotions, Shane.
Yeah, it was. And I want to get to the good and the bad later, but let's start with the good. Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce continue to show why they are first ballot Hall of Famers. They continue to show the reason why they are both the offense of the Kansas City Chiefs. They both continue to show the world that they're unstoppable, regardless of how big of a lead they get behind, regardless of how bleak things look. You got Patrick Mahomes and you got Travis Kelce, then you're going to be in every game, regardless of how bad the circumstances look. So I want to keep it positive here. I will critique it in a little bit when I want to expand on some negativity, and I hope you give me a chance to do that a little bit later. Noah, what'd you think, pal?
Oh boy, yeah, I guess if we're going to start positive and not go into the negative, because this was an amazing win that I just didn't think we had any chance at after we failed on the 3rd and 3 there, and we punted back to him. I was like, the only way this ends is with a Daniel Carlson walk-off field goal. That's the only way I can see this ending. But that's not how it ended. The Chiefs showed me that's not the way that this is going to go, with the Devontae Adams overturn on the catch, which is when I saw the first replay, I said, that's not a catch. He's bobbling. And then somehow the Raiders receivers just run into each other and a miracle comes down, shines on us from the heavens, and we get the win. But I've been hard on these receivers all year. We've heard me talk about Tyreek Hill every single week that we do Arrowhead Allies. I thought that was going to continue. But other than that, just brief mention, I'm not going to talk about him because I was impressed with what the wide receivers did there on Monday night against the Raiders. MVS came alive. You saw Juju. Mykell really stepped up, even though he's still kind of injured and hobbled, and he feels good 1 second. He runs another route and he's hobbling off. But man, MVS, other than this one drop, Mykell had a drop in the end zone there that could have been a touchdown. But outside of that, these guys were on their game. It's the best game that we've seen from them. And so maybe I need to just be a little more patient with these receivers, because if they continue what they did on Monday night, I'm going to be eating my words for the rest of the season.
Man, I'm thinking about some crazy numbers, and one of the craziest was the fact that Patrick Mahomes is 12-9 now in his career, went down 10 plus points. And when he comes back and win the game, there we go. Look, right on time. Look at us. Arrowhead Allies.
Thanks to our producers for that.
Yes. Patrick Mahomes, 12-9. You see it. The closest person to him is Tom Brady, the GOAT, at 38%. And that is just a mind-boggling stat right there. 12-9 went down by 10 points. We saw it in the Houston game in the divisional round. We saw it throughout the Super Bowl run in 2019. And this is just along with the Patrick Mahomes DNA. He loves. Sometimes it makes me think that he loves coming back. Like, he doesn't get started until he's behind or something. Like, you don't like he wants to get punched in the mouth first, and then he wants to fight. Patrick Mahomes is just amazing. There's not enough adjectives we could describe about him.
Yeah, no question about it. Guys, I want to get all your takes on this because some analytics came in, and I'm not someone that likes that word when it comes to the NFL, analytics. That makes me think of Brandon Staley and the Chargers and fourth downs and failures. But the analytics on this last possession, Noah talked about punting away on 4th and 3. Looked to me, there was no other way either for this game to end but a walk-off field goal. The analytics came back on that 78%. If you achieve the 4th down, if you go for the 4th and 3 there, 78% victory. If you punt it away, the analytics came down to 69. And to me, it's way lower than 69. To me, it was 50 or under at that point. Once you punt the ball away, the way the Raiders had moved the ball, the way that Devontae Adams had played and Josh Jacobs had run the ball down your throat. So to me, the 4th and 3, it's something at the time I'm like, man, I know but you had 3 timeouts. You give them the ball closer to that field goal, to said field goal. And the more I go back to it and look at these analytics, and Shane, we'll start with you. Do you punt that ball away or do you go for it there?
The whole entire sequence from 1st to 4th down on that drive was baffling, guys. And hear me out, okay? There was 2 minutes and 48 seconds left on the clock. The Chiefs are around midfield. Jerick McKinnon busts out for 8. Now it's 2nd and 2. The Raiders take a timeout. They go to commercial break. The Chiefs come back 2nd and 2. The Raiders got 2 timeouts, about 2:42 left on the clock. They got Clyde Edwards-Helaire in. He tries to run sideways. He loses a yard. Now it's 3rd and 3. The Raiders take their 2nd timeout. It's 3rd down and 3 at the Raiders 43-yard line. All you're thinking is, okay, Raiders have 1 timeout plus a 2-minute warning. Just get the 1st down. And when Patrick Mahomes rolled to his right and threw off his back foot 30 yards down the field, and you saw that Mykell Hardman was in coverage, and you saw as soon as it went incomplete, my mind already said, you go for it on 4th down, because you don't throw 30 yards down the field to a guy that's covered if you're not going to go for it on 4th down. It was just a given. Okay, you have to go for it here because you rolled out of the pocket. First, you took Jerick McKinnon off the field, who was the only reason the Chiefs were back in the game when we were down 17-0. He busted a 25-yard run. But anyway, I want to expand on Clyde Edwards-Helaire later, but you're asking me specific about that freaking play. I want to say this. I want to say the Chiefs, should have went for it, because I had a bad feeling.
Yes.
Dan Carlson's way too good of a kicker, and they moved from the 6 to their own 40-yard line really quick. And it took Devontae Adams to bobble the ball. A major coaching gaffe by Andy Reid. Now, people might be saying, hold on, Shaggy. The Chiefs found a way to win. But I'm going to say, just by the skin of their teeth, when you have your quarterback flushed out on the pocket, throwing his back feet 30 yards down the field to a guy that's covered in coverage, you go for it on 4th down. You don't
thought of it that way. That's good.
The whole totality from 1st to 4th down was such a head scratcher. What do you say, Brian?
Hold on, Shaggy. No, love what you're saying. And I'm not disagreeing with you. I like the play call of punting it. After the fact of that terrible play call on 3rd down, I didn't like it. Yeah. What I thought going into that was the Raiders are playing a lot of man coverage, a lot of it. and they could be expecting us to run, considering the fact that they don't have any timeouts left. I think the 2 minute warning had passed, right?
No, there was
Not
two.
yet.
There was they had one timeout, and there was about 2 minutes and 38 seconds left.
I have not finished my rewatch of the game yet.
They would have taken that timeout there if we'd have run it and not got it. They're taking that right there.
Yeah, right.
Well,
go ahead.
Well, I noticed that they did a play action on that play, and I think they were banking on Mykel's speed, trying to win his 1-on-1. Which it could have been a better throw, and I get what you're saying, Noah. And this goes to your argument about the depth of our wide receivers and why I guess the Chiefs shouldn't have taken Mykell and should have taken DK Metcalf in 2019.
Yeah.
But regardless, though, didn't like that play call at all. I thought that you should have ran the ball. I think to waste more time and make them call their last timeout, perhaps. But punting the ball right there was the right decision, in my opinion. You got Tommy Townsend who pinned them. They were inside the 10-yard line, right? I think they were at the 7-yard line.
6, yeah.
So, look, man, you give the Raiders the entire field to try to go down and get in field goal range, make them because you're so predictable at that point. You have to throw. Not only do you have to throw, but you have to get out of bounds at that point too. I thought it was the right decision to punt the ball at that time.
It looked like MVS might have been open there over the middle for about 6-7 yards, enough for the first down. But Travis Kelce was doubled on the play, and for some reason, he went deep to Mykell instead of taking MVS. Maybe he didn't trust MVS's hands. He had a drop not too long ago in that game before that, but he looked like he was on all game. That's the best I've probably seen him play, because he's normally a 50% catcher, and he caught everything, I think, except for that one drop that he had. So I was really impressed with the receivers. But Brian, I can't punt there. I just can't. I've seen it so many times. Joe Burrow celebrated when they went up against the Ravens. I was like, Joe Burrow just celebrated a 1917 loss. I don't get it. And that's exactly what happened. I thought that's what we were doing when we were celebrating. But I thought with the punt, we're just like, it's over.
You don't make it there, you essentially lose the game. I mean,
no. Well, I think you have a better chance of coming back because of the time
sooner. And
you got 3 timeouts,
so you might end up with 30, 40 seconds with the ball back.
Yeah, if they get a first down, and then what do you do?
I'll go for it.
You get a first. They had the ball at the 46, right? Let's say that they get to the 40-yard line, and all of a sudden now it's a 57-yard field goal or 58-yard field goal for Carlson. I trust the defense at this point. No, we know that Devontae Adams, he got loose one play where Fenton, it was a 4th and 1, and Fenton was playing another coverage. He was doing something else. He got wide open, and of course, we saw Adams do it again in the 4th quarter against Cook and Watson. But
how do you have 2 rookies on Devontae Adams there?
Yeah.
And then at the very end of the game, we're lucky they ran into each other, because I guess Fenton ran out with cramps, and they had Joshua Williams on Devontae Adams. No, thank you. Not possible.
Well,
I like the decision. Yeah.
We said specifically to that last one, Noah, we did say when the season started, Jalen Watson, Trent McDuffie, Joshua Williams, they were willing to be baptized by fire.
Yeah.
And
not that much fire.
I would definitely say, I like this group of rookies. I will still say this, as Brian said before the season started, let's let Brian Cook and Jalen Watson learn from that pass that Derek Carr threw over him, because those were 2 rookies that Devontae Adams schooled. If it was Tyrann Mathieu and Daniel Sorensen, we know that Tyrann Mathieu would be pointing at Daniel Sorensen about letting him get open. But this way, it's rookies. They'll be coached up, and I feel that they will learn from it. But go ahead, Clint.
Yeah, guys, and I brought up last week, and I think that Brian, what you said kind of played out. I asked the question: Is this a rivalry anymore? The Chiefs win 75% of these. The Raiders organization is just constantly starting over, and problems and drama, and Devontae Adams pushing a cameraman down, and now police charges. But I asked the question: Is this a rivalry? Well, gosh, I'll be damned. Monday night, it absolutely was. The way that these teams were getting after it reminded me of the 90s. It reminded me of those times. I mean, the game hadn't started yet, and Derek Carr just says, we don't like them. They don't like us, and that's how it's going to be. And you saw Max Crosby getting in Patrick Mahomes' face. You saw really just a re-energizing, I think, of this. And to me, this was the Raiders' last gasp. I mentioned it. I think that they're just too far gone now. Oh, we get to hear this. They're the best 1-4 team in the history of the NFL. And
I love doing that
that's
every
for
year.
losers.
You are what your record says you are. Bill
Yep.
Parcells.
Thank you, Bill Parcells.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. So going forward here, guys, I mean, there's still some fallout here. This Davante Adams situation. Now we have police charges. Police report's been made. A misdemeanor assault charge has been filed. I mean, this is crazy because Noah, and I have spent a lot of times on sidelines of games, and I just have always dreamed of someone just like knocking me over and like that happening, and just a lottery ticket in my hands. Like, yeah, I get free tickets for life for this one, baby. So we don't know what this guy is going to get or what's going to happen. But man, if you're Davante Adams' agent, like you got to be like, hey, get him on the phone. Let's get him some sweet tickets to the Raiders Chiefs game, something. Let's get this thing taken care of, right? I mean,
that ain't enough.
This is not, it's not
That ain't
enough.
gonna take care of it. No. See, look, it's too out of control. It's out of my hands. We living it in the hands of the Lord now. But look, man, everybody's seen it on social media. He took the ride for the ambulance from the stadium to the hospital. You already knew then what time it was, okay? He's coming out with some type of money bags, man. It's too far gone. But there was another angle. I forgot who got the angle, but it did look on this other angle as if Davante Adams had his head all the way down, and the kid just like kind of walked or ran past him or was trying to run past him. And I think out of instinct, this guy is seconds off of coming off of a football field. So he's
embarrassingly running into his other receiver and falling down on national TV.
Yeah, that too. So after looking at this second angle of the video, I think it was more of an accident. But if I'm Davante Adams, I just got this big contract from the Raiders. I give him a few thou wow, break them off a little bit to sweep this under the rug so we can move on.
Yeah, they showed the guy like being helped up by the employee or another staff member there, and he seemed fine. But then all of a sudden, he's in a hospital. And like, oh, my back's giving out on me.
Someone got in his ear right there. Someone was like, go to the hospital right now. Like, get there.
That is the highest paid wide receiver in the National Football
League.
Right.
Right. But he has it on tape. It's on tape.
It's a dream of mine. I always thought like the guy that got dragged off the United Airlines flight. Like, why can't that be me? Yeah. Just please be me sometime. That's a lottery ticket in your hands. Like, what is it going to take? I'm on a lot of sidelines, but to me, it happened like at a college game, and it would never. There's no money than that. You just get tear an ACL or something. So
let's go back to that, and not just that. A few moments from this Chiefs Raiders game. We've talked about it, but let's relive the glory of what that night was. Almost a disaster, but it turned out to be glory. So we're going to celebrate this a little bit.
The line is.
Hit from behind, and the ball is taken away by Jones. A flag comes out on the play.
There's no foul in the play for a block in the back. Timeout.
Touchdown reception for Travis Kelce. Career touchdowns number 61.
Comes off the ball, he stutters and double moves him right there. I mean, and that's the other rookie, Brian Cook, who was playing over the top. So Davante Adams and Renfro, they collide.
And the Chiefs.
Frustration from Adams, and whoa. Can't have that as Adams leaves the field. The frustrations on this evening bubbling over, and that's not what you want to see.
You don't want to see the extension there. That's going to be his problem there.
Maybe just a shoulder would have been okay. And that was Scott Van Pelt, by the way. That's a many-year enemy of Starcade Media, Scott Van Pelt.
Yes, he is.
That with Hunter Renfro and running into Davante Adams, that had a lot of Tim Brown running into the referee in '95. I love that.
James Hasty with
that. Yeah. So
what happened there?
on the specifics to Devontae Adams and Hunter Renfrow, I don't know the X's and O's.
They said that Devontae got jammed at the line, which threw his route off, and it was supposed to be a concept where Renfrow came underneath him, but because of the timing came off, they collided with each other, and it just threw off the entire route. And so Joshua Williams actually played it well, and getting a jam on Devontae Adams at the line caused that to happen.
Brian, do you think that, like, I'm a big believer in group hysteria. Like, I've seen it over so many things. Like, everybody in Kansas City hates Joe Buck because he talked about a player having a good game in a baseball game 8 years ago. Group hysteria, though, in this Chiefs-Raiders game, man, I've never seen anything like it as far as just a crowd turning on, a group of refs. You saw that clip, that ref had struggled to get the words out there.
Oh, man.
What was it like in the stadium? And you talked about but like, do you think that there was literally some like group hysteria that took place and that got the Chiefs really going to start this comeback?
I just think that was just Chiefs Kingdom being Chiefs Kingdom. You look back to 1990, right? Or 91, the Monday night game against John Elway and the Broncos, where Shane, is that 90 or 91? I think that's
Shane
90.
had to be there. He had to be there.
That was the crowd noise game.
Yeah. When the ref said he was going to call a penalty on the Chiefs for the crowd.
That was December of 1990. It was a 3:00 start. That was obviously late in the second half.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was a 3:00 game. That wasn't Monday night.
No, it was 3:00. It was a 3:00 game. The Chiefs beat.
So dark.
The Chiefs beat the Broncos by a touchdown, and it was late. It was late in the year. It was the year before. It was exactly the week before Warren Moon passed for 527 yards. But go ahead specifically what you were saying.
So no, just Chiefs Kingdom being involved in the game. I mean, this is why we are Chiefs Kingdom. This is why we are the loudest stadium in the NFL. And Seattle, New Orleans, none of these guys can hold a candle to us because we affect the game. 11 penalties for the Raiders. There was false starts. There was delay of games. There were a lot of that stuff going on. It was electric. And especially at that time, we had enough at that time. There were a couple other calls that were supposed to be called before then as well. But that one just took the cake. It was over the top. It was something that everybody is talking about now, the day after. So, Chiefs Kingdom, rightfully so. We made our voices heard, and everybody in the stadium, the grandmothers sitting in the wheelchair seats up top, they were booing. Okay, everybody was booing, man. I don't think it was hysteria. I think it was just the Chiefs fans wanting to be involved in the game and impacting the game, just how we do in Kansas City, baby.
Yeah,
we got some stats here to go to as well. I mean, just Mahomes' most team points per game versus a single opponent. You see Manning there, but it's against the Eagles. How many times does he play the Eagles? Drew Brees against the Giants. How many times does he play the Giants? But Patrick Mahomes against a division opponent.
Crazy.
He's twice a year.
9 games.
Averaging 36.6. That is insane. To me, he's leading the category just because it's a division opponent. I see what Manning and Drew Brees are there, but they play them how often? Just once every 4 years or so. Like,
right.
This is 2 times a year what Mahomes is doing and getting the Raiders, and they have an opportunity to put up points and win and beat them. But Mahomes is putting up 36.6. That's insane. And then we got Kelsey here. First player in NFL history with 4 touchdowns inside the 10-yard line in the same game. 7 catches, 25 yards, 4 of those touchdowns. That's insane. And then, of course, what everyone's talking about, Patrick Mahomes passes Troy Aikman. Now Patrick Mahomes is 75th all time for 166 touchdowns in 68 games. Took Aikman 165 games to throw 165 touchdowns. And this is where I have my beef with Chiefs Kingdom, because Troy Aikman's getting too much shade, in my opinion. People are calling out his career, his numbers. He shouldn't have been a Hall of Famer. He was a joke. He was carried by Emmitt Smith, Aikman, Jimmy Johnson, the defense. He was just along for the ride in those Super Bowls. No, you will not do that to Troy Aikman. Maybe one of the most accurate quarterbacks in NFL history. It was a different era. It was a different game. He was the leader. He was the captain. Everyone looked to Troy to carry those teams. And it was not the other way around. It wasn't Michael Irvin. It wasn't Emmitt Smith. It wasn't Deion Sanders. It wasn't even Jimmy Johnson. The players looked to Troy Aikman. I have a video here because Chiefs Kingdom wants to come at Troy Aikman and throw shade at him, because back in the day, like when Mahomes was starting out his career, people were pointing out his great stats. And Aikman said, come to me when he's got 33% of my Super Bowls, which he does now because he's got 1 Super Bowl. but people are throwing too much shade at Troy, and we just need to take a look at this video to remember how great Troy was.
Great as those teams were, none of it works if Aikman's not there.
He's the engine that drove the machine.
I've never seen a more accurate quarterback.
He's the most accurate thrower I think has ever played the position.
Deep ball on a hitch to Urban, and it's caught.
When he was hot, he was as good as I've ever seen. No question about it.
If I close my eyes to run 10 routes, I believe 8 of them would have hit me right in the hands.
How he threw and got that ball in there, I have no idea. There are not a lot of people who could have gotten that ball in there.
Aikman with time, long ball.
To buy some time, really gets nailed, but watch where the ball ends up. It couldn't be thrown any better. Right out front, he catches the ball on a dead run.
And Aikman pays the price. Kurt Scholes, he's going to run all the way across the field. Now look how far he's running, and then he got all that speed, and he's going to unload with everything right there. That's the thing that Troy Aikman can do better than anyone in this game, maybe better than anyone that's ever played it, is place the football, and that one was placed perfectly.
Knowing when, he's called upon to make the play, and he's going to make that big throw.
It couldn't have been thrown any better.
I had an ability to throw the pass pretty much where I wanted. I was always very accurate.
Complete to Michael Irvin.
I took a great deal of pride in my ability to stay in the pocket and get hit and deliver the football. Had I have played in an offense that threw the ball like Dan Marino played in, or Steve Young played in an offense like that, or Brett Favre, and not taking away anything that those guys have done. They were all great players. There are those that don't put me in that same category because that's not the system in which I played in. I don't think people ever truly got to see the ability that I had as a passer.
Troy Aikman was at his best in big games. He was 11-4 in the postseason. His career completion percentage in Super Bowls is the best in NFL history, topping both Joe Montana and Tom Brady.
Troy's arm is a gift from God.
He is a perfectionist. He is the ultimate competitor. This man right here was our leader.
Hopefully that shines a little more light on just how great Troy was and gives Chiefs Kingdom and guys like Josh Briscoe on 810, who's kind of started this several years ago, calling out Troy Aikman and saying just his numbers are a joke. He shouldn't even be in the Hall of Fame. This man was great. You see it there, and hopefully that gives Chiefs Kingdom some more perspective on this man's great
career. I saw
career.
Dale Carter there too.
That was the 95 Thanksgiving game.
It was 24-12. 24-12.
But look, what I mean, if you're arguing that, did you just start watching football in 2010 or what?
Right.
Seriously, because the rules, it's a completely different game. It's not the same game as it was in 93. But the thing about Troy Aikman was not only was he accurate, but the thing is that he performed well in big games all the time. Whenever the Cowboys won a big game and we heard Pat Summerall and John Madden come on Fox or CBS for a brief period in Troy Aikman's career, man, look, they would always win. The damn Cowboys would, and nobody hates the Cowboys more. Well, maybe a couple Eagles fans here and there, maybe a couple Giants fans, Washington fans, but I hate the Cowboys. Almost dislike the Cowboys more than the Chargers. So that should tell you a lot to where my Cowboys hatred is. But regardless, though, Troy Aikman was a fantastic quarterback in his era. You have to take things for what they were then, as opposed to comparing him to, Kirk Cousins or whoever now. It's not the same, man. It really wasn't.
Yeah, I would pick Mahomes over Aikman. If someone's telling me, okay, you can choose right now, Mahomes or Aikman. I'm a Chiefs fan. I love Mahomes. Chiefs Kingdom, you made me do this. You made me come to the defense of Troy Aikman because of what you're saying and the shade you're throwing at him. But I just have to put some respect on his name. But yes, I would take Mahomes over Aikman. If anyone's wondering out there, like Brian said, I wasn't a Cowboys fan. I hated the Cowboys. I hated Troy Aikman because they're always winning and there's this great dynasty, and I wanted to be that, and I didn't get that in the 90s. As much as we won, we weren't winning Super Bowls. But Shane, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, you're fine. I think you can't get too excited about Twitter because a lot of that stemmed from Twitter 3 or 4 years ago. I think if Troy Aikman wouldn't even have responded to any of that, it never would have been an issue. But it's the fact that he did respond, got many in Chiefs Kingdom all excited. If he just ignores that and just goes on to his next day, he could just say, well, I'm Troy Aikman, no big deal. What I kind of wish Troy Aikman would have done, though, on Monday is just, let the world know that Patrick Mahomes just passed me, but he didn't. I felt like that was kind of like, come on, man. Patrick Mahomes was right there. You're in the booth calling the game. You could say Patrick Mahomes has just passed me in the record books, and he didn't. I thought he should have done that.
They should have had a moment ready. Joe and him could have had a moment, just a joking moment. Like, well, Troy, we knew this might happen, but boy, this is happenstance, isn't it? I mean, just a little moment. I'm not mad about it, but
these guys didn't have you to have to grab the gun, man.
Yeah, he's already hearing how much just these quarterbacks have all surpassed him, and no, look at the numbers, and he can't put into context for the younger crowd just what these numbers mean in his generation to now. And so everyone is just looking up his stats in 2022 and, oh, look at what Mahomes is doing and look at what Troy did. And so I think Troy's a proud guy and he loved his career and he wants to keep that legacy alive. And so he just didn't mention it, and maybe he should have, but I don't blame him for not mentioning it.
You know, this is going to be really, really, really bad for those 90s receivers. Going forward, Lynn Swann, I want to bring him up from the 70s because my boss Myron D at Hot 103 Jams, he always brings up the fact that Lynn Swann is in the Hall of Fame, but Otis Taylor isn't. Otis Taylor's numbers are better than Lynn Swann's numbers. But if you look at the numbers of, you mentioned Tim Brown earlier, or Chris Carter or Jerry Rice, no, Jerry Rice is always at the top of the list. But Chris Carter and those guys, if you're going to compare their numbers to like a guy like Justin Jefferson 10 years from now, like you're going to think that those guys in the 90s were scrubs when it was the complete opposite. You got to take into context of the rules of the game, how TV has influenced the game of wanting to score more touchdowns and wanting to be exciting, and the NFL wanting to be a viable TV product in this day and age.
Yeah, no question. I think we're all to that point of our lives, when you get into the 30s and the 40s and, the 50s, wherever people are around here, that we're, what we grew up with was what we just cherish. I think that goes for everything for me. Mm-hmm. You see behind me a Nigerian Nightmare, Christian Okoye with the Freddy Krueger glove on. I mean, that pretty much is my childhood right there in one photo. So I hold on to that stuff. We all do. And I think that's just natural. And people that weren't around for that, you don't have Steve Sable on NFL Films as much anymore to take you back through those or a way to find that. So Shane, I want to go back to you because as we kind of transition towards this Buffalo game, we've spent a lot of time talking about this Raiders game, but I want to kind of, as we transition, to talk about kind of some of the negatives, where we are heading into this. The Chiefs coming into this game, 2.5-point underdogs at home, first time in Patrick Mahomes' career. Shane, take us from this Raiders win, transition us into this, maybe some of the negatives that you were thinking and how this might translate into, to me, one of the biggest games of the year here.
Well, it is the biggest game of the year, and the negatives we have to address, and I'm not going to be a negative Nancy. I love my Chiefs. I love the young cornerbacks. I love Jalen Watson, 7th round draft pick. We've seen 7th round draft picks like that succeed. 1984 out of Temple, Kevin Ross. Albert Lewis was the 3rd round draft pick in 1983 out of Grambling. Those cornerbacks were the foundation of what was to become in the 90s. But specifically to your point, Noah and Clint and Brian, about the Chiefs going into this Sunday's game against Buffalo, the reason why I'm scared, because in 2 home games, primetime games, the Thursday night game in front of the world on Amazon Prime and a Monday night football game in front of the world, the Chiefs fell behind by double digits. The Chiefs fell behind 10-0 against the Chargers and 17-0 against the Raiders. Now, people might be saying, hold on, Shaggy. You always say division games are tough. Division games are this and that. But yes, but when you get 2 home games on the road, 2 home games in a row in front of the world, and you're down 10. Boom, you're down 17, just like that. Yes, Patrick Mahomes is good enough to bring him back, but it's unfair to do that. And if you keep that trend going, you're going to be down by Buffalo. The game starts at 3:25 this Sunday, and by 3:40, Buffalo's going to be up by 10 or 17, and you can't keep falling into that trend. And that falls at the feet of the coaching staff. And by falling at the feet of the coaching staff, I think it falls at the feet of who their starting running back is. Now, I've been debating with Lance Twidwell. He said, well, you can't say anything bad about Clyde Edwards-Helaire because he's got 9 touchdowns in the last 10 games. Man, my opinion, that was set up so easily because of the Chiefs offense. Jerick McKinnon, with the Chiefs trailing 17-0. Patrick Mahomes just got sacked. The Chiefs are trailing 17-0. 2nd and 17 at their own 33. They run an inside handoff to Jerick McKinnon, who bullies guys with his little quick style, 27 yards. The next play, they give it to McKinnon. He runs it for 11. The Chiefs need a spark. They need a spark to keep up with Buffalo. They can't keep this trend, and I feel Clyde Edwards-Helaire is too slow. He hasn't done anything since his rookie season when he had 166 yards against Buffalo in the very first game he's ever played on Thursday Night Football. He had over 100 yards against the Texans. I know he had gallbladder surgery this year. He's supposed to be ready. Our friend Nick Jacobs was posting Twitter of how Clyde Edwards-Helaire is missing a lot of blocks. He just doesn't have the vision. He doesn't have the speed. The Chiefs are falling behind somehow, some way. Have Jerick McKinnon be the starter, or at least be carrying the football a lot more than Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He is the spark. People may say, well, McKinnon's older. He's not as durable. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is not it, guys. He's an NFL running back. I'm not going to take away anything from him. He is an NFL running back. But in my opinion, he's 3rd on the depth chart. Keep McKinnon starting so we can start fast. We're falling behind too many times, and it's putting pressure on Patrick Mahomes. The Buffalo Bills aren't going to fool around. They'll be up 10 and 17 points like that. Stay up with them. Come out fast. Andy Reid and the entire offense needs to realize that. And that's my opinion. That's my negative take of last week's game, and that's what we have to improve on going into this game. What do you think, Brian?
Man, what a great analysis with the falling behind, Shaggy, because we've seen Buffalo just absolutely smother opponents, get up on them, and there's no looking back. You cannot let that avalanche happen at Arrowhead. It'll turn ugly quick, man, because Buffalo has the defense to back that up. They're constructed to get ahead by a bunch and to just pin their ears back and to come after your quarterback. So that's a great analogy right there with that. But I'm looking towards Chris Jones. And I know that we got these rookie cornerbacks and we got young guys in our defensive backfield. But one way that they can be helped with their coverage is as if they don't have to cover that long. So if Chris Jones and Karlaftis and Nadi and 5-5 come to play, by the way, Frank Clark had a sneaky good game on Monday, by the way. He was looking like the 2019
and then he was sick or something.
Clark.
He left with an illness.
Yeah. Let's hope that Frank is able to bounce back. But Chris Jones is going to have to be a human wrecking ball against Mitch Morrison, interior of that Buffalo defense, to help out your defensive backs. The run game is not spectacular, but it is a threat. So I will be looking for Chris Jones to have at least maybe 1 or 2 sacks. Maybe one is called back for roughing the passer for talking to Josh Allen rude or something like that, or maybe because he didn't read him a bedtime story as he sat him down or something. But I don't know. Hopefully not. Chris Jones has been absolutely fantastic this year, despite the 2 crucial penalties he had. I'm looking for him to kind of save the day for the Chiefs, to be honest with you, and to F the play up every single play against the Bills. It doesn't matter if he's getting a TFL, if he's getting double teamed and pushing a guy back into the backfield that disrupts the rhythm of the offense. Those are the key plays and the things that are going to disrupt the Bills offense to allow your defense to really play well.
Guys, and we saw it last year. I mean, this duo of receivers, Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis, he had all of the Buffalo touchdowns last year. A couple weeks ago, he was their leading touchdown guy. I think he had 3 in a game a couple weeks ago too. Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs here, guys. And when we've seen the last couple weeks, top flight receivers, Mike Evans, and then here Devontae Adams this week with the Raiders, we've seen kind of a trend here those last couple weeks of these young receivers, like Shaggy Shane said, baptism under fire and struggling to cover some of the top flight receivers. I think they've done a good job against the Chargers at times, and Mike Williams, really good job against the Colts, who weren't really a threat offensively, and the Cardinals, who had their old problems, didn't have DeAndre Hopkins. That was kind of a struggle. So they're coming along. We're almost going to get to the point where they're not rookies anymore. And Trent McDuffie, if he's available for this game, maybe that shakes up this a little bit. Maybe you bump Fenton down a little bit and let the chips fall where they may. But guys, when we see what the Bills offense has done and their ability to get the ball to not only that, but Dawson Knox at tight end, we've seen him so many times. This is kind of the Chiefs Bills has become this new thing. They want to make it out to be Brady and Manning. We can talk about that all day, but man, these corners are going to be tested. This is going to be tough. And I'm someone that in the face of adversity, I'm a fight or flight guy, and I fly. Guys, if somebody at a gas station puts a gun to my head, not only am I giving them my debit card, I'm giving them my mom's social security number, my sister's phone number, because and so to me, the narrative here is this is the Bills' time. They want to anoint them. They want to be Super Bowl champs in October. Let's just give it to them and get out of here, because last year at Arrowhead, we saw 38-20. I'm already kind of leaning towards Buffalo here and just like getting this game out of the way, because I think the Chiefs can really fatten up on some games going forward, guys. I'm not ready to give a score prediction yet. We'll get that at the very end, but I'm not feeling good about it right now.
You know, I'll say this. I'll say I was at the game last year. It was a year ago today or a year ago yesterday or something around there, where the Buffalo just came here and they stomped us, and the Chiefs were really bad in a lot of areas. I mean, Byron Pringle fumbled a kickoff return. We all know Tyreek Hill tried the drop pass that went pick six. And then when the Chiefs were starting to get some momentum back in the fourth quarter, Patrick Mahomes, we drove him down all the way to the 5-yard line. He tried to hit the running back out of the backfield, and the defensive end intercepted it. So there was, even though the Buffalo Bills dominated that game, there were times where you felt that Patrick's going to do what he does. The Chiefs are going to come back and do this. You could feel it because I was there. It was a sucky game. It rained. It was an hour and 15-minute halftime because of the storms. But there was so much ugly that really hurt the Chiefs. But there was a couple times where the Chiefs could take the momentum. I know we're not doing the prediction yet, but there's going to be times where the Chiefs will have a chance to win this game. I have no doubt. But we just got to eliminate such bad play. And it's like I just said, my last segment, we have to start fast, and McKinnon is that guy. I like to have McDuffie back. Granted, he's only played 3/4 of one NFL game. Rashad Fenton's getting picked on, but I will say this about Spagnuolo: he doesn't leave his cornerbacks to be destroyed like Bob Sutton. Bob Sutton, Philip Gaines, Orlando Scandrick, there's a long list of cornerbacks that got destroyed in Bob Sutton's offense, but Spagnuolo will protect his cornerbacks. You won't see a lot of Spagnuolo's cornerbacks get destroyed. He'll change his zone coverage around. So I think even if we have Trey McDuffie and Jalen Watson out on the defensive side covering these guys out on the defensive backfield, I think Spagnuolo is going to protect him in some way.
Yeah, offensively, I'm looking at Von Miller.
Got to. Yeah.
Max Crosby almost ruined the game by himself, literally, on Monday. And so Wiley and 57, they're going to have to bring it. They got to be better than what they were in that first half against the Raiders, because you play like that against 50 and 40 for Buffalo. It's going to be a long night. It's going to be a very long night because Patrick's going to get affected. He's going to get hit, and we're not going to be able to run the ball against those guys because we're going to be behind, and then we're going to have to pass. Buffalo pins their ears back, and good luck from that point on. But if the Chiefs can find a way to chip Von Miller, to find a way to keep him out of the lap of Patrick Mahomes, I think the offense will be just fine. And let's not forget, man. You talk about Gabe Davis last year and what he did to the Chiefs defense. Well, Tyrann Mathieu, I believe, got knocked out with an injury that game, as well as the Buffalo defense let the Chiefs score at will too. So I have all the confidence in the world in Andy Reid. I have all the confidence in the world in 15 and Eric Bieniemy and Travis Kelce, who's better than Tony Gonzalez, by the way. I'm willing to take that argument.
I like it.
But look, Shaggy, you said it at the top of the show. 2 first ballot Hall of Famers on the same team. I got all the confidence in the world in the Chiefs offense, and hopefully Chris Jones can affect the passing games and Josh Allen on the defense.
Right. And last year, in the playoffs, Tyrann Mathieu got hurt the 5th play of the game. It was Mike Hughes at cornerback and Armani Watts as the safety. Those two aren't on the team anymore. So we're going to see definitely how we're going to do now with obviously Justin Reed and Brian Cook and Trent McDuffie instead of Mike Hughes. or Jalen Watson instead of Mike Hughes.
Yeah, we should fare better there. I would rather have Jalen Watson than Mike Hughes, but I am worried about the secondary a little bit. We saw what Clint mentioned it. Devontae Adams was able to do, Mike Evans, Mike Williams to a degree. And now we've got Gabe Davis, Stephon Diggs in here. And I've been a Rashad Fenton guy from day one since he stepped on the field, but I kind of like him more in the slot, more in the intermediate, the middle of the field, playing those underneath routes, some 10-yard outs, some hitches, some comebacks. Deep down the field, he's not locating the football. He's not turning his head around. He's getting lost. He's panicking. He's grabbing the receiver. And so it's at some point, I'm not saying it should be now, especially heading into the Bills game, but at some point, we're going to have to look at it being Snead, McDuffie, Watson, and maybe even Williams, and Fenton's our insurance guy, our fifth guy, because he's going to have to start showing up and prove that he has earned that starting role and earned that number 3 corner role, or even, maybe even number 2 corner role out here, because he's costing us. We see Jalen Watson's not getting his head around, but he's a 7th round pick. I don't expect him to have all this learned yet. Brian?
Yeah, I think Fenton, I think you're seeing his weaknesses show. I would not put him in man coverage. I don't think that's his strength, because I don't think he has the speed necessary to keep up with a Devontae Adams or other the faster guys in the league. We saw last year with Jamar Chase in that playoff game. He didn't look too good in that game, and we also saw it in the game against the Bengals in the regular season where Fenton didn't look good. Where I love Fenton's competitiveness. I love that he's feisty and that he's not afraid to back down from anybody, but he just doesn't have the speed to keep up, man. Devontae Adams ran right past him for that 4th and 1 touchdown. Now, it could have been a defensive thing. That could have been, him preparing for the run or trying to play for the run or whatever. But he just doesn't look to have the speed or the skill set to really combat those balls and play it in the air and try to get it at its high point. We've seen Jamar Chase last year get the ball at the high point in the end zone when he scored a touchdown on him. We saw him lose the ball, as you just said, Noah, against Devontae Adams this past weekend on Monday Night Football. So I think Fenton, maybe the slot could be better for him. Just don't leave him out on the island, because when quarterbacks see that, they're going to go right after him.
Absolutely. And we've talked about the running game, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, like he's good for like 60 to 90 yards or 0 yards. It's one of the two. And I don't think you're going to have to have the hook sooner than that. When you see that he's having a game like he's having, you're going to have to go to McKinnon earlier. You can even go to Pacheco, but I think Pacheco and Clyde have the same issue, which Pacheco, he's a 7th round rookie, a vision problem. They're missing the open hole, the open gaps. Sometimes it's, they just run the play how it's drawn up, and they can't go off of that and just kind of improvise once they've got the ball in their hand. And so I think that's something McKinnon does. He finds the open. He's got the agility, he's got the burst, he's got the acceleration to make something happen. And once the play's broken down, he can bounce outside or do whatever he needs. And Von Miller, like you mentioned, Brian, that's someone we're going to have to pay attention to. But NFL Network came on and they said the tail of the tape for the Bills-Chiefs game, play calling goes to the Chiefs. The running backs, surprisingly, go to the Chiefs. And the pass catchers, they like that better for the Bills, which I kind of agree with, but kind of don't, because we have Kelsey and that kind of trumps anything the Bills have. They give the defense to the Bills. I'd probably go with that. The quarterback, they always do this when we bring in a tail of the tape and it's a big game, one of the best games of the weekend. They always give it to the other team, and they've got Josh Allen over Patrick Mahomes here. Always.
I love it.
Like Joe Burrow over Patrick Mahomes in December 2021. Like
I love it.
Like
I love
Andrew
it.
Luck over Mahomes in 18.
The fact that this is Patrick Mahomes' first ever game that he's an underdog at home is going to be the ultimate. I think he's going to be stoked. I think he's going to be coming out ready to play, and I think that Chiefs are going to come out on fire offensively, and I think they're going to play better this week than they did against the Raiders early, because they have to. They can't keep doing. They can't get down again by 10 or 17 against Buffalo. I know I'm repeating myself, but I'm just saying.
Right. Shaggy, let's get into predictions and just keep it going and
do it. Okay, the score. I'm going to say the Chiefs will win 38-34. But hear me out. This is the like Clint just touched on it just about 10 minutes ago. Championships are not won in October. So If we win, let's be happy that we own the tiebreaker. Buffalo Bills won last year, then 3 weeks lost to a Jacksonville Jaguar team in turmoil with their head coach 7-6, or was it 6-3? Some
9-6.
9-6. So if the Bills win, I'm predicting the Chiefs. Championships aren't won in October. But if the Chiefs win, we can be happy. But we also remember championships aren't won in October. Buffalo proved that last year. But I'm taking the Chiefs 38-34 this Sunday. What say you, Noah?
Yeah, I mean, I've got this a close one. Again, our hearts are going to be racing, but I've got it. I know I picked against the Chiefs here with the Bucs game. You're probably expecting me to go that way again. No, I'm going the Chiefs for a 33-31 walk-off field goal. Hopefully, Bucker's back to help make that prediction true, because if it's Matthew Wright, I may be eating my words, and it could be a 31-30 loss. But I'm saying Bucker's back, and we win 33-31. Brian, take us home. I know that you've got the Chiefs winning. You have to.
Of course, I'm the Lynn Dawson of the show. I'm the Lynn Dawson inside NFL. Look, Chiefs are going to win 32-26. It's going to be a great game. It's going to come down similar to last week. The Chiefs getting a defensive stop, and the young guys pull away with it.
Like I said, guys, the Buffalo Bills want the chips, and I'm letting them have the chips. I run in the face of adversity. I see the being an underdog here, and that is unprecedented in the Patrick Mahomes era. The Buffalo Bills coming in with a lot of hype. They want to win this game. You saw how their fans overtook Arrowhead last year, Shaggy, and there's something ingrained in this fan base. They're very similar to the Chiefs fans, but man, they want something positive. They want to feel it. They want to put the tail of the tape up on their computer screens and say, yeah, these quarterbacks, they're not the same, because ours quarterback Josh Allen is the best quarterback in the NFL, which I don't agree with, and I'm not going to agree with. But the Buffalo Bills win this game, and it's going to be a weird score, something like a 32-25 type game. There's going to be some 2-point conversions, some fourth down, a lot of people going for it on fourth downs, maybe some missed extra points. There's going to be a weird score here, and we're going to leave, and the national media is going to have a field day. The Buffalo Bills, hand them whatever paper Lombardi trophy you got. The Bills win this game, and I love them to do it. And at the end of the day, it might be for the number 1 seed, which hurts, but in the long run, the Chiefs are a championship football team, championship organization, blue chippers, the gold standard, and we'll see where that gets us in January, and I'm fine with it kind of either way.
We also have a Raiders fan in here. I'll let you go, Shane, but we've got a Raiders fan in here, and I have seen them on Twitter. We've seen them on our Facebook. All they do is talk about the refs. What must that be like, as Clint has told me? What must that be like for the past 2 decades, just 3 decades, to be crying about the refs every single game? The refs did it. The 12th man. We can't beat 12 people out there. We got to face the 11 on defense and the refs.
Oh, look, he said the Chiefs got lucky. Luck is when preparation meets opportunity.
Well said.
Word. The last thing I want to say is, to go with Clint's prediction, Patrick Mahomes at some point in time will have to play playoff games on the road.
Right.
He's not going to have a 14-year career and never play a road playoff game. So if we got to go to Buffalo, then we're going to go to Buffalo. On our prediction show, I had the Chiefs going to Buffalo for the AFC Championship game.
Right.
And again, remember this throughout all day Sunday, regardless who wins, championships aren't won in October. They're won in January.
I 100% agree. 100% agree. And I think Mykell texted in his prediction too, which is sort of ambiguous. I think we're going to have to hold Mykell to a higher standard. He said 27-24 either way.
What?
That's what he said.
He just can't choose.
Just toss it up. I don't know. 27. I mean, I love Mykell.
Raiders all day. We're not concerned about week 18. We're going to be in the playoffs, so you all are going to be fighting for the number 15 pick in the draft. We're not worried about week 18, bro.
Hey, Brian, I told you Raiders fans have that weird short-term memory thing where they just can turn it off and do it all over again the next week, no matter what happens, no matter how many times they lose, how many times they miss the playoffs, 2 playoff appearances since 2002, and they're talking about week 18. Okay, we'll see you then.
Yeah, look forward to playing Chad Henne week 18.
I'll be at the Mirage that weekend, guys, or whatever's cheaper.
We got a comment here before we go. I want to get to this. I think it's a good point. Caleb Robinson, we have to realize Mahomes has done everything, MVP, Super Bowl MVP, all that. Allen hasn't done any of that yet. The media's always got behind the guy that hasn't done it yet.
And we talked about that last week.
Yeah.
Very good point. We talked about that last week. That is the nature of sports media in 2022. And I have said it for a long time. I'll say it again. To be the man, you got to beat the man. Josh Allen has one victory over Patrick Mahomes. That was last year, but in the playoffs where it's mattered most, the Chiefs have owned that outfit. Andy Reid 6-2 all time against the Bills here in Kansas City. I know I predicted a loss, but I might just have to switch it if this keeps up, if this national media keeps up. But
yeah,
that's what we deal with.
Beat the man, and Mahomes is saying, "I'm the man."
That's right.
Man.
Wait a minute,
like
Shaggy.
I need that for my background here.
Well, thank you, everybody,
yeah.
for tuning in. Wherever you're watching, Facebook, give us a like, give us a follow. Twitter, give us a follow. YouTube, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode of Arrowhead Allies or anything we have going on here at Starcade Media. Thank you to our sponsors, Royal Roofing and Solar. Make sure you go check them out. And we always have to thank Mykell Matthew, who's not here and giving a prediction of 27-24 either way. And we, of course, the guys that always join us here. Brian B. Shina from Hot 103 Jams. Shaggy Shane Williams from Shaggy Shane Entertainment. You catch him on YouTube. Thank you all for tuning in. You are all our fellow allies, except for this Raiders fan in the chat. And go Chiefs, beat the Bills. Let's go. Chiefs.